Humanity is going through difficult moments like never before. We have lost our loved ones with a glimpse of an eye like never before. Our lives have been affected dramatically like never before. Our relationship with our Creator will never be the same like never before. Our priorities in life are dictated to us like never before. Our freedom is no longer in our hands like never before. And life will never be the same after these difficult moments. Join our live Ramadan show like never before with Hatim Al-Abdissalam and engineer Muhammad Farooq on Oman FM, your nation station, every Saturday till Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. to discuss our lives like never before.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise be to Allah, the Master of the Day of Judgment, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Nation Station and in your program Never Before. I'm your host Hatim Al-Abdissalam, and joining me in the studio is my dear brother Engineer Muhammad Farooq. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful as always. Alhamdulillah. What about you?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah. Muhammad, today we're talking about consuming food and burning that food.
Yeah.
So the title of today's topic is diet and fitness.
Yeah.
And for sure, during the pandemic, we've been very busy in the kitchen, chewing things.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to talk about what to do with that food that we're chewing.
Okay.
And then there are certain habits that we have, Muhammad, during our lives, like going to the gym and so on. And now that we are deprived from certain activities, then some of us maybe are stuck and don't know what to do. And we move on and do bad habits that will harm us in the long run, inshallah.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned in the beginning, and I thought of something. Somebody shared a joke with me that a panda eats slowly for 12 hours a day.
Yes.
And that's why we call it a pandemic, because we're sitting at home raiding our refrigerators 12 hours a day. But then Allah in His mercy sent us Ramadan. And see, the golden rule is that don't eat more in Ramadan than you do in your normal days.
Yes.
Okay? Because if we're going to think of iftar time or the breakfast in the evening when the sun sets, yes, as a reward for the whole day that we starved, and then we go on a buffet binge, that's going to defeat the whole purpose. And if we continue doing this for 29-30 days, results would be obvious. And that's why we see a lot of people, they actually gain weight during Ramadan instead of losing weight.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. So
today we have, Muhammad, a lot of experts who are joining us on the show through calls, and we start off maybe with the first person, who is Mr. Abdul Aziz bin Diyab Al-Abdissalam. And Abdul Aziz is an extraordinary young man who has passion for sports, and he is a triathlon athletic.
Wonderful.
And he joined the Ironman competition before. So he has a very unique experience to share with us. I'll not spoil the surprise. Let him tell us, inshallah.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum, Abdul Aziz.
Hello, alaikum salam, Sheikh Hatim.
How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's nice to have you on the show, Abdul Aziz. I just wanted you to share with our listeners what you did during the COVID-19. I'm sure the COVID-19 has stopped us from doing a lot of things, but hasn't stopped you from continuing your passion with the sports, especially triathlon.
Yes. First off, thank you very much, Sheikh Hassan, for having me on the show. It's really a pleasure. Ramadan Kareem to you and all the listeners of your show. Thank you very much for having me. Of course, we are all impacted by this COVID-19 situation across the globe, and we see people in different countries, going through different challenges, and it's a difficult time and a challenging time for all of us. So one of the things that I faced personally, and my community that I'm part of, which is the triathlete community across different places.
Yes.
Our sport is mainly, it's an activity. It's a very physical intensive sport. It requires you to be training, twice a day sometimes for 2-3 hours, especially on a weekend and all that. So there was a lot of questions, and we had, especially myself, I felt that it's going to be a very difficult time to manage right now, since the lockdown. We're trying to support the government and the initiatives of the government to try as much as we can to not go outside of our vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, of course, one question we had was, how are we going to be going on with our training, and how are we going to be racing specifically, because a lot of us train to compete, and Ironman is one of the global events that takes place, which I was fortunate enough to attend the recent one in Oman, which was in February, last week of February.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big event. It was well received. So following that, there were several events as well locally, and then there was another Ironman which is expected to happen in Oman in September, and also in different parts of the world. So we had a big question mark on how we're going to be doing this. And amazingly, we were able. Of course, we got contacted by the Ironman group, and they wanted to try out initially the virtual reality races, which was a concept that was, I think, talked about in the past. But again, now because of the sudden change, it had to be implemented.
Yes.
So within your own space, whether you're training at home or, because you cycle within your stationary cycle, we have certain equipment that we use to keep us at home, like the cycling trainers, which is a stationary bike trainer.
Yes.
And of course, if you have a treadmill at home, that's even better, so that you don't have to run outside. So what they've created is they've created this virtual race, which consists of the same sequence, excluding the swim. Because as you know, the triathlon race consists of a swim first of all, and then a bike, and then the run, which is the final part. So excluding the swim, they've compensated that with a short run. So I was able to participate in my first virtual Ironman race 3 weeks ago. Of course, I had to prepare and train as well. So ever since the COVID situation started, I continued with the training. And what happens was interesting is that everything that you do, of course, every activity that you do gets logged on your device, whether you're using an Apple Watch or a Garmin watch, your training device.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets uploaded automatically without any intervention onto your profile, and then gets logged into the virtual Ironman race. So we're able to do that. It took us, and the span of the time that you're given is 24 hours. So it's not literally like the race, the actual Ironman race, which you have to do back to back. You're given 24 hours to do each activity separately. And the main reason, I think, for this was not actually to race, because you don't really get any
award or medal or anything.
You get a certificate just saying that you've completed this race, but it's more of keeping the athletes motivated and driven, because like I said, we train to race, but if there is no race, then there's no goal, and there's no goal, training becomes a bit difficult. And of course, part of it was also to keep you in that momentum of, your routine, working out as usual, so that you're able. So every week, the Ironman virtual race takes place every week, and on a weekly basis, you have the choice to either participate or not, and it's completely free. And what's interesting is that you get to race or get to participate this with a large number of people, and there's a list that's shared with who are the participants, who finished at what time, and all that. which is interesting. So my first race was, I think it was around 22,000 participants around the world.
MashaAllah. So there's a lot of people who are doing this, Abdulaziz, not only a few.
Yes. But so that was interesting because I would never expect to partake in an activity that will have this large number of people. Obviously, you don't meet them, you don't know them, but at least you're part of a community, and that keeps you motivated. And that's the key, I think, because this COVID situation right now, it's a very challenging time, and a lot of people are trying to cope with, the adjustments. Everything is so sudden, and it's very difficult. So this is one way of keeping you motivated, especially if you want to, be in sports and continue with your activities. So that was more or less about it. And the experience was the interesting thing is that I had to do the run, and the cycle was indoors, of course. But the first run was a 3-kilometer run.
Yes.
And then you do a 40-kilometer cycle.
Wow.
And then the final part is the 10-kilometer run. And what was interesting is that I did it all within the same house. So coming back at every activity, I had to explain to my kids because they've noticed that I wore my old gear and I had everything ready and all that, as if I was actually going to race. And that was also part of my motivation, is to put on my whole gear and actually feel like I'm in the race.
I think it was a strange experience with your kids. Yeah, they didn't know what exactly are you doing.
No, but after a while, after explaining it to them, and then they found that interesting. So my daughter and my son, who were the age of 9 and 8, they sort of figured it out. But my little one, my last one, didn't really get it. But again, I think that's going to be their world when they grow up in time. But it was interesting because they had a lot of questions, and I explained to them that, this is the situation we're in right now, and this is a way to keep you motivated. And that was a good thing. Even kids found that to be a positive thing. So they asked if they can participate also in the race, which I think, specifically this franchise of Ironman didn't have anything for kids, but I think that's also going to be an interesting thing to have for kids as well, to keep them active and all that, because they're also stranded at home and they're locked down, and they get tired and frustrated, and they need energy to release and all that. So that was also something that they should look into, I think, which would work very well for them.
MashaAllah. Thank you very much, Abdulaziz Al-Absalam, for your insight on this, and that motivates all of us, to do at least the minimum, because you're doing a lot in terms of fitness, and if you can do this, then the rest of us can do even the normal sit-ups and push-ups. Yeah.
Definitely.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdulaziz.
Thank you very much, Chandra. Yalla Ramadan.
Take care. Ma'as-salam.
This is wonderful, and it's very encouraging and motivating for us as well, and I hope for the listeners who would also go out and give it a shot.
I've never, thought that one day this would happen, Muhammad, subhanallah. But I'm very happy to see that there are a lot of people out there who are very dedicated in what they do, and they see the importance of it. And they're working hard to make things work.
Yeah, and
they don't take excuses. They don't have excuses that because of the COVID-19 we can't do this and we can't do that. You can do a lot of things.
Exactly, and the excuses don't change the outcome. And by the way, things like these triathlon are very tough.
Yes.
I remember taking part in something similar a couple of years back, and it was hard. You had to move tires, and you had to run on sand. You had to carry bags, you had to crawl under barbed wire, and you had to, jump over fire and go through cold water, and it was quite an experience. That's all I can say. I was just glad that I was able to complete it.
Okay, Muhammad, we have our next caller for today. As we are talking about food and nutrition, we have Mr. Salah Salim Al-Shukaili, who is a senior dietitian specialist at SKU. Assalamu alaikum, Akh Salah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you today? I'm
fine, thank you very much. How are you doing? Mabrookeen alaikum al-jahr, inshallah.
Alayna alaikum.
Allah yakhallik.
It's nice to have you on the show, Mr. Salah. And Your input will be very useful to our listeners today, because during the lockdown, the biggest activities that is happening in the in our household,
refrigerator raiding,
is food. So we need your advice when it comes to food. So Mr. Salah, what food should people consume during the pandemic to increase their immunity?
Okay, look, the immunity system is working in different ways.
Yes.
It doesn't work in one way. Therefore, people will need a different type of food in terms for them in order to boost their immunity.
Yes.
Okay. So, for instance, they can go for items or food items that they contain high amount of vitamin C. So, where can I get vitamin C from? I can get vitamin C from citrus fruit, or red bell peppers, or broccolis. So this one will provide us with vitamin C, and not only that, they contain antioxidants as well.
Yes.
So you see, vitamin C, one of the vital nutrients that will boost your immunity. When you're sick, Hatim,
yes,
sometimes they tell you drink orange juice or lemon juice. Why? Because it contains high amount of vitamin C.
Yes.
So that will fight back the infection that you are having. Another thing that I would really like to recommend to the audience is yogurt, because yogurt will help you to cleanse your, you have in your gut, okay, in your stomach, you have microbiotics, okay, and those, they will help. Your gut is the biggest immune system in the immune organ in your body. So if you make it that strong, it will help all the body to be stronger. And how can you make it strong? By only consuming yogurt that contains, live culture.
Yes.
And active culture. So, that will make your good bacteria in your stomach become more stronger and eliminate the bad bacteria in your body. So you'll have a better immunity system.
Mr. Salah, sorry, people during breaking their fast, they have the laban.
Laban.
Yeah, is it equivalent to the yogurt in terms of benefit?
As long as it contains live culture, probiotics and prebiotics, you have to look at the container. Not all the, the brands in the market,
yes,
they contain the pre and probiotics. Okay. So the consumer have to read the container. I don't, sorry Hatim, but I don't want to tell you the brands on the line.
No, also we don't want to advertise for them for free. So don't tell us the brand.
Now it's consumer's duty now to look at those two things, that prebiotic and probiotics, that will help to boost his immunity,
Yes.
within his diet.
Now, Mr. Salah, how should people consume food in such a way they don't gain weight during the lockdown? Because we heard a lot of stories that the people are really gaining weight now during the lockdown.
Okay, Hatim, if you allow me, I'll take you 2 steps backwards.
Okay.
Okay. Step number 1. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ.
Yes.
I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me.
Yes.
So we should understand why did God or Allah created food.
Yes.
When we understand why Allah created food, then we'll understand how to use it in a proper way, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Hatim, created everything in this world to serve the humankind, including the food. So the food was created by Allah, just to cut the hunger. So the the human being can worship Allah in a peaceful mind.
Yes.
He didn't create food just, to eat and overeat and show off and what is happening, overdoing it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ordered human being to eat the food. He said, Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu.
No.
So overdoing the eating is very bad, or it become harmful to the human being. We should, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, ما ملا آدم وعاء شر من بطنه بحسب ابن آدم أكلات يقمن صلبه فإن كان لا محالة فثلث لطعامي وثلث لشرابي وثلث لنفسي. I'll translate this, okay? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, no man feels a container worse than his stomach.
Yes.
A few moles that keep his back upright are sufficient for him. If he has not to, he should keep 1/3 for his food, 1/3 for drink, and 1/3 for breathing.
His breathing.
So you should eat not to get satisfied or to get full. You should eat until you just cut your hunger.
Correct.
Only. You know, when you're hungry, your brain will tell you, Hatim, go and look for food, I'm hungry. When you start to eat, that, buzzing in your head will start to stop. So there you should stop eating. There is another saying, it says, نحن قوم لا نأكل حتى نجوع وإذا أكلنا لا نشبع. We are people, we don't eat until we get hungry. And when we eat, we don't get satisfied. So again, the point of eating is not to get satisfied or to get full. And what's happening now during Ramadan, unfortunately, some people are competing, who's going to eat much more, I saw some videos, some people, even they're taking their shirts off, so, they can eat much more food, unfortunately,
And Mr. Salah, it makes it difficult now with social media, people taking pictures of their food and advertising food and restaurant all the time. Then it makes the brain work in a strange way and crave 24/7.
So, Hatim, I tell you something.
Yes.
What is the most valuable thing that you have in your life? It's your body and your health, right?
Definitely.
So, we should, always fight this temptation and the seduction pictures and everything, and just say to your brain, okay, I want to be healthy. There's a terminology called quality of life. Quality of life it means like living healthy as much as possible until the day you die. Okay? There's no point of you living until the age of 80 years old. But when you are in 60, you're already having diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, and you are just going to the hospital every day, for dialysis or whatever it is. That's considered to be poor quality of life. For me, I will eat in a very good way to maintain my quality of life until the day I die. I want to die, healthy. People are laughing. You're going to die anyhow. So why should you die healthy? Yes, because I want to spend all my life, I'm a healthy person.
Yes.
Without proper nutrition and proper diet, it's impossible for you to become a healthy person.
Correct.
Subhanallah.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Salah, as you know, during the lockdown, people are very much attached to delivery services.
Yes.
Now, how can we advise people on the dangers of fast food consumption through delivery services?
Okay, Hatim, just imagine the guy who comes and brings the food to you, okay?
Yes.
He took the food from the restaurant. Maybe you are the lucky one, you're the first house. Yeah. You give him the money, okay? Your money could be contaminated, with the virus, okay? He takes the money, he puts it in the pocket, he goes to the next house. Now, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, he doesn't have facilities to wash his hand, while he's delivering to the second house. Correct?
Yes.
So, and his hand is already contaminated with the virus.
Yes.
Okay? So, he's taken to the next house and he starts spreading the virus from there. You could be the second house. As I said in the beginning, you could be the lucky house to be the first house, but you give him the money is contaminated, or he's in contact with somebody he's sick with the virus, and he can, he spread the virus to the delivery guy, and the delivery guy send it to the next house, and then the thing what happens, he goes back to the restaurant, okay, and he spread the virus to the colleagues at his restaurant, and then from there the restaurant becomes the center of spreading the virus among the community.
Yes.
So and another problem with the delivered food that most of the time they are ready for consumption. When they bring the pizza to you, it's already for consumption, isn't it?
Yes.
So if it is contaminated, you don't have another chance to disinfect it. Not like our home. When you cook a home food, you know that the food items you brought from the market or the food ingredients you brought from the market, you can wash them, you can cook them properly, you can give them sufficient time of cooking in order for you to kill any pathogens. But let's say in the restaurant, sometimes they have high pressure, okay, or demands, a lot of demands. So they don't cook the food properly. They just heat it a little bit and just put it in the container. So they don't expose the food item, okay, to the temperature that ensure that all the pathogens are killed by proper cooking.
And sometimes it's pre-cooked. They just heat it up and send it out for delivery.
You see, like even worse,
Mm-hmm.
So like there's two things, like insufficient cooking, and we call it cross contamination from the delivery guy who collect money from different houses. Okay, maybe there is like e-payment or on electronic payment, but sometimes some people they might give him a tip, for example.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
They say, okay, Ramadan, Miskeen, I don't know what, let him give him a tip. That tip, could be the thing. We don't know who we are dealing with. We can't see the virus, and we don't know who has it, who doesn't. So therefore, we have to be very cautious with everything. Look, Hatim, can I tell you something?
Yes, you can.
Please, there's no harm, cooking at home. Learn new skills. Cooking is like an art. When you take the raw ingredient, okay, and you just turn them to something beautiful, people that can eat and enjoy it. That's an art. So why don't people learn at home how to cook? And it's not like there are some dishes. They can just take 15 minutes.
It's not rocket science.
Exactly, not rocket science.
And it's fun
Most
also.
of us were students overseas, and we had to cook one day for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Subhanallah.
So why now? For me, I'm a generation of 70s. There was not this kind of thing like fast food or
eating out all the time. Yeah.
All the people they used to But then let us go back again to when I told you, why did Allah created food? Allah created food just to keep you alive. It's not about enjoyment. So don't take it as much enjoyment. If you don't eat, sambusa tonight, nothing will happen to you.
It's not the end of the world.
Yes, trust me. If anybody happen anything to them, you can sue me.
Shukran, Mr. Salah. Thank you very much for the insight.
Very educational. Really appreciate it.
I think our listeners have benefited from it, and inshallah it won't be the last time that we get in touch and benefit from your knowledge, Mr. Salah.
Thank you. Anytime, Brother Hatim.
Shukran. Jazakallah khair. What do you think, Muhammad?
This was wonderful. I think we should do one complete separate show just on diet in the future, inshallah ta'ala. And what he shared with us, this is worth in gold, and I was very happy to find out that there are a lot of stuff I'm already doing.
Yes.
And as an example, I break my fast with a tall glass of warm water with lemon or lime squeezed into it.
Yes.
And if that's not available, I'll just take an orange and squeeze it in it.
Yes.
And then I try to take 1 big spoon of olive oil and some other mixtures that I've made, like it's a combination of flaxseed and black seed and fenugreek. These things are very good in the long run, especially for your immune system.
Last year I had a system for my food during Ramadan, Muhammad. Is that I only broke my fast with dates and lemon and water, nothing else. And then I would have, after the Maghrib prayers, a little bit of fruit, especially like watermelon, which is consisting of water.
Yeah.
And then I would have one type of meal. And once the call to prayers of Isha is called, I stop immediately from eating anything, and even no tea, only water, until the time of suhoor. And then at the time of suhoor, I only have dates and lemon and water again, and that kept me really energetic throughout the month, and it kept me, fit. I lost a lot of weight, And this year I'm also trying to
Wonderful.
try this again.
During the day,
it is difficult this year
uh-huh.
because of the circumstances, but now that we heard Mr. Salah, I think
it's good
I'll
motivation.
go back to my old system, inshallah.
So inshallah. So during the day you're fasting, and at night you're doing what's called intermittent fasting, you know.
Yes.
And foods that provide long-lasting energy, we should consume those. And some of the recommendations, and this is for the early morning meal called sahur. Like, don't stuff yourself and
No biryani?
No, please no. And don't start burping and belching, and then after a couple of hours, like let's say by 10 o'clock, you're again starving. You know, your stomach is asking, okay, where's more? So go for like whole wheat, oats, beans, brown rice if you want to have in a little bit quantity. Lentils, sweet potatoes, and things that take long to break down. And obviously, I myself also, and most of us, we break the fast with dates and water. There's a hadith that break fast with dates, and if you don't have dates, at least break fast with water.
Yes.
Dates and water. If no dates, then just water. So that's obviously there, and even when we are taking the morning meal before fasting starts,
Yes.
again we do the same thing, high consumption of water and dates as well. In addition to that, in terms of fruits, try to take raw fruits and unpeeled fruits, because they say when the fruits are ready for consumption, there is more sugar in them. So it's better if you take things which are not ready for consumption the way we look at it. And vegetables are always a winner. They also digest slow, and they are rich in fiber. Water, a lot of it, during both meals, or preferably before meals and after meals, not during the meal. And yogurt is a wonderful idea. If you take a couple of spoons of yogurt in the morning, hopefully it'll not make you thirsty for the day to go. And things that we need to avoid, Brother Salah also covered a lot of things. We need to avoid fried foods, high sugar foods, high fat foods, high sodium foods like soups, sauces, condiments, gravies, high sodium bread products, canned meats, and fast food.
Yes.
We should avoid them in normal routine, but especially during fasting, we need to avoid them also. And other than that, heavy oil items, they'll give us heartburn, and they'll create problem all day. And what we see is a lot of us break our fast with samosas and pakoras and things like that.
The good stuff.
I call them the diesel snacks, not the oily snacks, the diesel snacks, the good stuff. So these are some of the things that we need to look out for. Obviously, all of us are different. We function in different ways. So it's better to consult with our physician or certified nutritionists. And even if they have to run a few tests on us, let them do it so they can tell you what needs to be adjusted. I remember back home, my father, he took me to one dietitian. He had returned from States. The amazing thing about that person is it doesn't matter with what kind of condition or ailment you go to him, he will not recommend any medication. He'll put you on a couple of tests, and then he will make adjustments to your diet. And then he'll tell you, okay, come back after like 2 weeks or whatever, and tell me what the differences are, and we'll put you another set of tests. It's a little bit of a tough regime. You have to be disciplined. But I realized when I started following, I could feel a lot of changes in myself, positive changes, as far as health, vitality, and especially, a lot of us, we tend to get lazy. We often complain that I feel bloated, I feel lazy, I don't feel like doing anything.
Yes.
Yeah. So that it has everything to do with your diet.
And actually, you are what you eat. Definitely, everything that you shove into your throat
pretty much, yeah,
will have an effect in your body, in your psychology, and in mentally, and even spiritually.
Yeah.
Because as Mr. Salah has mentioned, if we want to worship, then we have to put the right things into our body to be able to get the sufficient energy to do it.
Yeah.
But what we're doing now is we're shoving food into our throats, which is not giving us energy, which is making us sleepy, and which is making us lazy.
We cannot focus on our worship. We don't have any khushu or concentration in our prayers.
Yes.
When we stand up, we're yawning. A lot of us are yawning when we are praying.
Yes.
And coming back to what you mentioned about having our prayers accepted, there's a saying of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that Anybody who consumes even a bite of unlawful, what we call haram, his supplication will not be accepted for 40 days.
Yes.
So this is serious. And the other thing is we have to lighten our body so our spirit can rise. If we are acting as an anchor and just dragging it down, then our body is going to win and spirit's going to lose. So we need to strike a balance, and consumption of food is the best way. So it should not only be halal and tayyib, that is permissible, okay, and pure, but it should be in moderation also. And excessiveness is discouraged in different places in Islam, even in Quran, as we have seen.
And Muhammad, food goes along with fitness. And as we heard Abdul Aziz in the beginning, when he mentioned that he's working out so hard in his household, I think there are different levels of workout depending on your intention and depending on your goals. But simple activities. I was just thinking about this today, and I thought to myself, and I said, the caveman and the people who lived before, they didn't have gyms, they didn't have treadmills, they didn't have triathlon and all these things. How did they keep fit?
Well, their lifestyles were very different from us. We are hurting ourselves on two axes. First of all, our lifestyle is exactly opposite to theirs. And then second, our diet is exactly opposite to theirs. So if you look at, as an example, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he had a very active lifestyle. His companions had very active lifestyle. And some things made you rough and tough by default, like mode of transportation. Riding a horse is not easy.
Definitely.
It
demands
it demands a lot. Yeah, exactly. And then walking, long stretches. Yeah, doing stuff at home. Even the water for use and drinking, you had to get it out of the well or bring it from somewhere else. So the lives were very militant. Now we're used to extensive luxury, laziness, extravagance, excessiveness. Okay.
But there are very few things you can do in your household, especially in the lockdown, Muhammad, like getting your own stuff. Don't ask your kids to get something for you, and don't ask the nanny to get something for you. Get up and go and get it yourself. Take the stairs, or at least 10 to 20 times a day. If you go up and down your house, then that by itself is a workout.
Exactly. I mean, we have a remote for our AC, and by the way, AC by default is not very good for us. If we turn it on all the time and we sleep with like 16 degrees, it's like sleeping in a refrigerator before you die, and it's not even good for your bones, and then it becomes very difficult to wake up in the morning for Fajr.
Yes.
Okay. But, I have a remote for my AC, I have a remote for my TV, the laptop is on my lap, the mobile is on my, right side. So it becomes very the only time you get up is when you have to go to the bathroom, right?
And the popcorn bucket is
exactly
next to your bed as well.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that in the name of luxury or ease, in the name of ease, we have really ruined our lifestyles, and it's showing. Just look at the diabetic rates, look at the heart attack rates. Young people are having heart attacks. It's shocking, in their 20s.
Yes.
Okay. So we seriously need to, my suggestion is, in this, first of all, try to modify your lifestyle. That includes your intake and the way you burn that intake. If you cannot change your burning style, then at least change what you're eating.
Yes.
Reduce the amount and start eating healthy, and use the principles used by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
I personally, Muhammad, I wrestle with my sons at home, and we run around. We have a small artificial pool. We swim, and we do gardening. We clean stuff. We build stuff. So even in your household, you can do a lot of things that will get your blood circulation pumping.
Exactly. Once in a while, I do a little bit gardening with my children, and they were very proud when little potatoes came out.
Yes.
Once in a while, we'll wash the car together. And before Ramadan started, we used to play badminton in the yard daily before Maghrib when it's not very hot. So it's good to get them into this routine and get them sweating, and they do a little bit of cycling and running around and things like that.
And also do outside activities, because most of the time our kids are locked down in the house with PlayStation and tablets and phones and things like that.
Yeah.
So get them out of that routine and let them do certain activities outside. This will help them. It will help their health.
Exactly.
Let them help you wash the car, for example. Let them help you garden,
and
water the garden.
It's very good bonding activities, by the way, between you and your children.
Yes.
And in addition to that, if we look at fasting, there's a lot of medical benefits of fasting. Like Muhammad, peace be upon him, he used to fast on Mondays and Thursdays. And there's a lady in UK now, and she has written a book. I think it's called like Fasting 2 Days and Feasting 5 Days.
Yes.
And where she's propagating the same principle which was done by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And he used to fast on the 13th, 14th and 15th of the Islamic calendars as well. And small minor things, they all add up. Like for example, don't breathe in your water cup. Take breaths between taking sips and not blowing on your food to make it cool quickly, and things of that nature. So if we practice those, the results would be very positive.
I think, Muhammad, we're ready for our next guest, who is Mr. Muhammad Azjali. He is the owner of Healthy Kitchen and is IFBB certified personal trainer. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Muhammad.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, Hassan?
I'm fine. How are you today?
I'm doing great so far.
It's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be in your show.
Mr. Muhammad, you're the owner of a very popular restaurant which is called Healthy Kitchen. How did the idea of Healthy Kitchen come about?
Healthy Kitchen, we started, we were a bunch of friends training in the gym. And we work hard, but we miss the healthy foods, because in Oman, at that time we were training, there was no awareness for healthy food. And most of people, eat random food and whatever they feel like eating. So we decided to open a healthy restaurant with a friend of mine. His name is Abdullah Al-Hanai, to provide such variety of food to the public. And, to also feed the awareness part in the country that healthy food is very important in many ways. And so basically it was just an idea between me and a friend, and we took it further.
I think that's a very proactive thing that you wanted to help yourself in the beginning, and then you took it further to help everyone else and educate people when it comes to healthy food.
It's pure entrepreneurship. They saw a gap and they came up with a solution for that.
Yes, and I'm yet to see such initiative in the market such as yours. Now, Muhammad, why is healthy food important? Because I know you're an athletic and you do sports, but you wanted to complement the food part as well. So why is it important?
See, healthy food, I'll mention some major points. Healthy food is very important because firstly it boosts your immune system. And that is of the healthy part of it to the body, and it builds confidence in you. The way your lifestyle goes, the way of living totally changes as you go to a healthy lifestyle system, because you go like your body adapts to a certain way and to a certain routine. It's very, very important for you to be consistent in your lifestyle. And healthy food does allow you to, feel, a bit relaxed in terms of your body digestion, your body how it reacts to whatever you eat. Basically, healthy food is very important to everybody.
Yes.
In the public.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Muhammad, how is the food prepared? How do you select the items? How do you prepare them? How do you have the recipes and so on to cater for the needs of your customers?
Yeah, a selection of the foods and nutrients, actually, it depends on each individual plan. So from person to another, it differs. Like, for example, some athletes eat from 2,000 to 3,000 calories per day, and some others have, their daily intake from 1,000 to 1,500. And some others as well use a keto plan, like you eat mostly 70% fat and 20% carbohydrate and 10%, fiber.
Yes.
So from person to another, you cannot judge. You have to see each athlete and their goal and vision on what they are planning to do in their healthy lifestyle regime or routine.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad. Is there anything else you want to tell our...
I have a question for Muhammad. Muhammad, for those people out there who say that we must make a choice between healthy and tasty, what do you say to that?
Well, you can eat healthy foods and tasty food at the same time, but you need to know what you eat. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, break the rules but not the law. But I say break the routine but not the whole diet plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So you can eat tasty food while you're dieting and all, but you have to know what you are eating. And they say always, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Muhammad. Jazakallah khair.
Have a wonderful day.
And see you soon, inshallah. Take care.
Shukran. I'm very pleased to be here, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. We're happy to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful stuff.
So I think, Muhammad, it's about time you invite me to Healthy Kitchen.
Hazreen,
inshallah,
anytime.
During Ramadan or after Ramadan.
Anytime you want.
We have to certify the food and see if it
it
qualifies. Inshallah, inshallah.
Yeah.
So, Muhammad,
I'm one of those guys who would try anything. You've traveled with me before, and you've seen what I eat.
I went with you to Korea, and you tried everything that moves, and I'm not a big fan of that. And I think we have our next caller, but until we get the caller online, let us talk a little bit about physical fitness.
Exactly. I want to touch on a couple of things about a little bit about the diet part, and then we'll jump towards fitness.
Yes.
That Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he never criticized any food, but what we know is that he really liked dates and water and fresh goat milk, soup, pumpkin, cucumbers, and watermelons.
Okay, Muhammad, you'll continue after our caller. Our next caller is Coach Saleh Al-Mahdhouri, who is the owner of 24/7 Fitness Gym and a co-owner of Zone Out Fitness. He is a certified personal trainer and a gym instructor, and specializes in weight management and overall health and fitness. Assalamu alaikum, Coach Saleh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. It's nice to have you on the show, Coach Saleh.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Coach Saleh, we want you today to encourage our brothers and sisters out there who are under lockdown. As you are a gym owner, and all of the gyms are closed down during this period, how can you advise them to, continue working out, continue having their targets, and just being healthy during the pandemic?
Well, indeed it's a very tough and difficult time, and it's a unique of its own. We've never had such a situation, so it's a bit confusing for everyone, I guess, at the beginning. But one thing I'd like to highlight is maintaining your workout throughout the time is very important. I mean, gym or no gym.
Yes.
And that is one place that normally people go and walk through or take their heat off. But it is very important that people still continue to work out at home or in the vicinity.
Yes.
But even beyond that, people should, especially if you're at home most of the time, you should expose yourself to sunlight, especially before 8 a.m.
Yes.
You need your immune system to really be boosted or maintained at least.
Right.
MashaAllah.
You need to let fresh air come in the house through the windows or doors, or not through the ACs.
Yes.
That's why it's recommended not to sleep after Fajr.
Level of oxygen in the house.
Yeah. This is what Muhammad is saying, that it is highly recommended that people don't sleep after the Fajr. They should
till sunrise.
Enjoy the moment before sunrise.
Fresh air and all that. Yeah.
True. And basically sports is very important at home, and there are a couple of ways you can do that. One, for me, I find the best way is like a bonding experience with your own children and spouse, where you can work out together. You can do different types. People will be surprised what sort of actually endless workouts that you can do at home, unlike what people think.
Yes,
correct.
I mean, sure, Netflix is one way to go, but I think keeping your body moving is also important.
Definitely. I think when you mention Netflix, now they are minting a lot of money. They have a lot of subscription during the lockdown, and people are spending hours and hours making sure finishing all the series on Netflix.
Yeah, and the excuse they use is that they're getting their money worth. So anyway, for example, you can do cardio. I mean, you mentioned earlier that people can use the stairs going up and down if you have stairs at home. You can do that on a regular interval, or basically as in just going up, walking, and coming down, walking, or you can do that as running, or you can do that as jumping one step after another, every other step.
Yes. What I'm very much interested, Coach Saleh, the activities that you do with your kids and spouse. How do you interact with your children, and how do you engage them in the activities? Because this is what most parents are, concerned about. How to engage their kids.
Well, one thing with kids, especially, is with the age catching up. You can play, who reaches upstairs first.
Yes.
And that's one thing we'll always be defeated at, I guess. But it's one of those bonding experiences. You can use push-ups. Push-ups. You can put your kids on your back and they do push-ups.
Yes.
You can do also squats. Put one of your children on top of your shoulders and do squats.
And that will be fun for them.
Yes. But I also want to concentrate also on what sort of activities kids can do. You can always, honestly, I do all the housework, most of it, even cleaning the floors. But one thing I would disagree with you and Muhammad is I probably will not let them clean my car.
I don't let them. I clean it with them. I'm supervising. So it's like
but
OJT.
There's plenty of exercises you can do. This is one thing of mainly cardio, but you also have the strength training. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, you have push-ups, you have squats, you have wall sits. This is something that people don't do. But try to pretend that you're sitting on by the wall and see how long you can last. Like in bed for the first time, maybe even 30 seconds is very challenging.
Yeah, I use one of the apps, and this wall sit is one of the exercises they make you do in about 7 or 10 minutes. It's a very nice app, and I don't even need a gym for that.
Yeah, and also you can do planks. Planks is something fun you do with the entire family, where you can start off the first day with only 20 seconds, and then every day you would increase 5 seconds per day.
Yes. It would be an activity where you challenge your kids as well, and it's fun. Whoever wins the challenge will get a reward, for example. So you change it into an interactive and a fun moment with your kids.
Yeah, and I understand some of the, especially the guys out there, where they used to have really heavy workouts at the gym, and so this is a bit challenging for them at home. But there are so many programs on TV. If you have some pre-recorded programs you can use and you can follow on TV, especially if you have some of the equipment at home. Or else you can also follow some of the influencers on Instagram. They have some of their shows as live stream. Some of them, they record their workouts as home workouts. And all you have to use is basically your body weight and sometimes even a towel or a small rub band.
MashaAllah. Now, Coach Saleh, the knowledge of sports, most of the people, they might not be aware of the difference between cardio and strength and weight training, and so how can they benefit during the pandemic to get this knowledge to implement it in their lives?
Reading is important, but mainly now with the media available, they can go through or browse the internet, the YouTube. You have different types of awareness videos where they talk about different types of cardio, let alone being cardio exercise.
Yes.
But just for the general sense or general explanation, is cardio what gets your heart rate, pumping.
Yes.
Basically, it's really to do with the muscle of the heart itself.
Yes.
Other than the rest of the muscles of the body. Strength training is where it gets there. It's from the name where you need to strengthen your whole body including the muscles on your the rest of the body, basically your upper body and your lower body.
Jazakallah khair, Coach Saleh, for all that information, and I'm sure all our listeners have benefited from the information. And hopefully, inshallah, Allah will uplift the pandemic from us, and we get to see each other and visit you in your gym, inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Ya Hatem, for having me on the show.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum. So, Muhammad, mashallah, we blended everything together in terms of diet, fitness,
Ramadan, Corona,
preparing food from Healthy Kitchen, and so on.
Yeah.
So,
changing lifestyles and all that.
In the last few minutes, Muhammad.
Yeah, basically, the experts have spoken, and now it's up to the listeners how committed they are and how disciplined they are.
Yes.
And one thing I want to add here is that it's okay to fall from your routine. It doesn't matter. But even if you get to hold it 80%, 90%, even 50%, it's better than 0%.
It's never too late.
Exactly. And as far as Ramadan is concerned, doesn't mean don't say, oh, I'm going to wait till Eid and then I will do this, because what we can do is we can...
Eid is not coming.
Yeah, well, not the way it used to. It looks like it. So we can work on the frequency. We can reduce our workouts to like 2 or 3 times a week, and we can restrict ourselves to cardio. So if we're used to, for example, running, we can only do jogging.
Yes.
Make it light. We can work on the duration. If we're used to an hour-long workout, we can shrink it down to 15 minutes. Of course, the strength and endurance level will be different for different people, and it'll take a couple of days to adjust. In terms of amplitude, or what we call intensity, again, we need to calm things down. So, like, do cardio instead of heavy weight pumping and, things of that nature. And the other thing is, for the people listening to us who are not based out of Oman, first of all, they need to analyze their own situation, because in some countries in Europe, fasting time is like 18 hours, even though it's not as hot as Muscat over here.
Yes.
So they need to consider the local factors as well. In terms of the best timing, there are 3 ways. One is right before iftar, half an hour or 15 minutes before iftar.
And that's the common time where you see a lot of people on the streets exercising.
Yeah, because then immediately when you break your fast, you can replenish your water and not get dehydrated for a long amount of time. The other one is after the Isha or Tarawih prayer. That's like after 1 hour after you break your fast.
Yes.
Provided you have not taken a very heavy meal, and you can work out easily. And the next one is before the sahur or early morning, which is the most desirable part, because you wake up, so you're on an empty stomach, but you still have energy from the previous iftar or the breakfast. So if you can become an early bird, and I strongly urge everybody to do that, that's the best way. So you get up, as an example, 15 minutes or 20 minutes before the time that you start your breakfast. Okay, and then you do a workout, do your breakfast, and after Fajr, then you continue with the rest of your routine.
So now people get up almost 3:45.
Pretty much, 3:45, 3:30, depending.
So you can get up at 3:30.
Exactly, or 3:15 or 3:30. Yes. So early to bed, early to rise will make you healthy and wise.
No Netflix. Okay, thank you, Muhammad. We're running out of time, and it's the end of our show. Thank you to all our guests who joined us today and shared their information in regards nutrition and fitness. So this is goodbye from all of us, from me, Hatem Al-Absalam, and engineer Muhammad Farooq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.